What is up, guys, and welcome to another video. We are going to talk about the Quentin Grimes rumors, which I just heard that Quentin Grimes was expected to be moved, which, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with that, but I want to first talk about my notes, which is who could be the suitor for Quentin Grimes. I think it's more like who does the Knicks want to trade for, but I think Quentin Grimes will work on like a team that needs a shot creator or needs like a bench shot creator and that will use him. I don't think it's like quickly where he needs more primacy. I think it's just like I think he just needs like, you know, just an off the bench role. He doesn't need to be the lead guard at all. I don't think he does. I don't even think he needs a lead shooting guard. Doesn't need to be that at all. But if he could be a bench three, maybe he can 3 and D slash. I can take it off the dribble type guy, and some team actually really values that and will really try to player development him and try to develop him into the player that he wants to be. I think there you have a team that could need that. And I think there's a lot of teams like the Portland Trailblazers who I think they have a ton of guards. I mean, if we look at the Portland Trail, they have a ton of guards, but it's like I mean they have Anthony Simons, they have Shaden Sharp. I don't think they need Quentin Grimes. So, I mean, then we look at the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks would be good because you could play Quentin Grimes at the two and you could be happy. Because Quentin Grimes can get more defensive reps on the best players, and I think he could take on the defensive responsibilities that DeJounte Murray was taking on. And I think also him and Jalen Johnson would work well as two guys who can shoot, but they can also take it off the dribble. I mean, I just watched something on Jalen Johnson. He's a very good ball player. I think he's very good. But him and Quentin Grimes can work very well together as a 2 and a 3. And then you have, Sadiq Bey at the 4. Then you have Clint Capella at the 5. If you want to move on Clint Capella, you have Okongwu. So lineup would kind of go like, you know, for the Hawks. I mean, he would start right away. I think. I mean, unless you have other plans like Bogdanovich or or whatever the Bogdanovich. Then if you have yeah, then you have other plans to start him at two. But I think I like Quentin Grimes' defense. I think Quentin Grimes could just slide right in as a starting two for yeah, I think you have Trey Young, Quentin Grimes, DeAndre Hunter's now out, so you would put in Sadiq Bey, Jalen Johnson, and then Okongwu. So your lineup, when healthy, would be Trey Young, Quentin Grimes, DeAndre Hunter when healthy, Jalen Johnson, and Okongwu. Off the bench, you would have Sadiq Bey, Bruno Fernando, you know, Bog, like Bojan Bogdanovich. Like that's a good off the bench, a good starting lineup. I think that you don't. You're a fun team. Then I think you're a fun young team that has some vets and maybe you could call somebody if you make this trade like in a week. You can go to the trade deadline and call someone about a Bojan or Bogdan. Maybe somebody needs another shooter in City Bay. Like you have pieces that you can also move to teams that need the shooting. If you're the Atlanta Hawks, I mean, you can move Sadiq Bey to a team that needs shooting. Like the Lakers would probably take him. Like even the Lakers would take Bogdan. I mean, he needs shooting right now. So if you can sell that to them, or you can get that last first from the Clippers, and you can make them use that last first and really make them go, oh, here's a piece in Sadiq Bey. Like here's a piece in Sadiq Bey. Take it. Like here's a piece in Bogdanovich. Or even if you don't trade Clint, you have Clint the starting five, and then you could just dangle him at this. You have a lot of wiggle room at the trade deadline. That's all I'm gonna say. You have a lot of wiggle room, and you still have a great. I think Clint Capella is gonna be traded this year, um, because I just don't. He just hasn't had the same juice. like rolling to the basket, like it just hasn't been good for him at all. It's very sad to see because he used to be a very good guy with him and Trey Young, but it just hasn't fell together this year, and it's kind of sad to see. But you don't need to move. I don't as much as they probably want to move Clint Capella, but it's like, are you really gonna move? Like you go in a week from now and you're like, I have Trey Young, Quentin Grimes, DeAndre Hunter, Jalen Johnson, and Clint Capella. I think you feel fine today knowing that you have expendable moves in um in a Bogdanovich. I might even say there's another Bogdanovich thing is on the Pistons, but you have him as a movable part that you can dangle on the trade deadline. You can dangle for a pick, and you have a Sadiq Bey that if you want to move him, I don't know what they're thinking. Or and you have a Clint Capella, so you can be very active with the trade deadline, or you can just stand pat and just give out Clint for something. But I don't know if Clint's value is good. But if a team needs a center, like you can go and ask like a team like not the Grizzlies anymore, but you can go ask a team like you know I don't know, like I don't even know, like you can go ask like a team like man, I don't even know who needs a big here. I'm kind of lost, but you can I I guess New York. I mean, I guess New York. I guess New York. That'd be a good, fun 1 year Clint Capella experiment in New York. I think that would be it. I think that would be where you would send him. I just don't. I just don't see it for the Knicks. I just don't. I just don't. But I don't see it with Isaiah Hartenstein and him, and then you have Mitch come back. Like, what do you do when it comes playoff time? Like, what do you do? Yeah, it's a lot of like questions. Like, do you just do you just sit and just do you just the DNP coach decision, Clint Capella? Or you also have pressure, so it's like who do you want to like? You're gonna have to give a Mitch and this how you deal. Like these are the type of things like who wants a Clint Capella? Like who wants a Clint Capella? Like which team could inquire about a Clint Capella? That's just my question. I mean, um, reports Rockets the Kings are a possible suitor. I mean, they could be a possible suitor, but like you have Demontis Sabonis. Like, how much do you think that you want to? I guess you can give him to the Kings. I guess you could take back some Davion, like just have him as a backup guard who's a very pesky defender. Just have that kind of like difference between Trey and Davion. Just have that like healthy difference. But like besides that, um, I just don't know where Quentin Grimes would go. I just don't see it. I don't see it for the Knicks wise. I mean, maybe the Pistons. Like the Pistons could be a place where you sit him next to Kate Cunningham and you have the perfect fit. Like I know Jay Ivy's this, I know Jay Ivy's that, but you need to have a shooting next to Cade. And if it means to move Quentin Grimes to the 3 and have Jay Ivy at the 2, and then have somebody at the like a Isaiah Stewart, and then you have Jalen Duren. That terrible front court. But then like I like that though. I really do. I think I like that for the Pistons. But who will the Knicks get back? I'm looking at the other Bogdanovich, and I'm also looking at an Alec Burks reunion in the New York Knicks. I think that's a pretty safe bet. But I don't know. Like Malcolm Brogdon, I just don't know if a Malcolm Brogdon deal would be done just because do the Blazers need a Quentin Grimes? Like they don't. That's just the thing here. Do the Blazers need a Quentin Grimes? And they don't. They don't at all because they have a Shadon Sharpe. They have an Anthony Simons. Like their guard room is pretty packed. Like they have a Scoot Henderson. Like their guard room is very very packed. It's just adding another guard to the guard room. And then you also have Malcolm Brogdon, of course. But I guess it's a guard for a guard type switch. Like bring Quentin Grimes in. But it's just like you want to get a wing or you want to get a center for somebody like I mean unless you advertise Quentin Grimes as a wing, then I think that could be something. But like I think it's going to be more of an Evan Fournier and a pick type deal for Malcolm Brogdon. I think that's just how it has to happen. Um, the Quentin Grimes move would be for DeJounte Murray. I think it's perfect for DeJounte Murray to the Knicks, and I think that's just too perfect, and I think that's what's going to happen. Um, I look at all the names, and it's like there's no DeJounte Murray. I mean, like I'm looking at names: Brogdon, Clarkson, Sexton, Bogdanovich from the Pistons, Rozier, Bruce Brown, T.J. McConnell, like Levert, Tim Hardaway. Like, none of these players are DeJounte Murray. Like if I'm gonna give up Quentin Grimes, I'm not giving up Quentin Grimes for Bogdanovich. I don't know if Leon Rose would give up, you know, a player like Quentin Grimes for like two mediocre, not mediocre, like pretty good bench players in Alec Burks and Bogdanovich. But the thing is, they're getting up there in age where you could like realistically get more for a Quentin Grimes. But I wouldn't be mad at that if they said, okay, Jack, you're gonna have to deal with Alec Burks and Bogdanovich today. Like you're gonna have to go with Quentin Grimes. I wouldn't cry about it. Like I wouldn't be pissed. Like I mean I sure wouldn't think it's amazing trade. I wouldn't go crazy. I mean I would probably be a little bit sad, but I wouldn't go like off the walls. I would question Leon Rose a little bit, maybe not a lot, but I wouldn't go crazy. I wouldn't. But the thing is like how much value does Quitting Grimes add? That's the thing. That's the thing. How much value does Grimes have? You can't just throw him out in the trade market and not know what kind of value he adds around the league. I think it depends on teams. I think it definitely does. I think he has zero value to the Blazers, but he has some value to the Atlanta Hawks, and you know, and that'd be perfect for him. But do I think Grimes should get traded? Um, I don't know. Unless I don't because it's such a big turnaround for him not I don't want to say like hindsight is like he didn't get traded for Donovan and it's like you have Spider like you could have Spider right now and you would just give a Quentin Grimes and now he's in trade talks with Karis LeVert. So it's like you're really downgrading it. But like look, I don't want to look at that hindsight because it's terrible to look at it, but I know Leon Rose mismanaged another young player, and it's just like, oh, Leon Rose keeps mismanaging young players. But it's like, I mean, we beat the Cavs. We beat the Cavs, so it's like, hey, like we beat Donovan Mitchell, so it's like, do we want to be the team? Like, I don't think Donovan Mitchell was ever going to be there. Like, I don't think we would ever get Donovan Mitchell. And I mean, you could clip this and be like, oh, Jack, you have Donovan Mitchell now. But that would never be a thing. I just don't think two small guards, especially when the Knicks lost two small guards, I feel like they just don't want to do that again. Um, I don't think I think that I'm leaning towards no because, you have so much value in a Quitting Grimes. Just what I'm seeing, I would trade him for DeJounte Murray. I would get around for that. I would be pretty content. I'd be content. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be bouncing off the walls. I'd be content. Like I would just sit here and be like, hey, we got a star player, like not a superstar, but like a star, and we got a star player at his best, and maybe just a good role player is worse. So we're getting a pretty low ceiling type guy, and we know what we're gonna get from him. So it's like I don't know what we're gonna get from him defensively, but it's like, and we know what we're gonna get from him offensively. So it's like, hey, like has anybody walked through the building in Thibodeau's system and been like, this guy's a bad defender? Like this guy's obviously a bad defender. No, Jalen Brunson probably a bad defender, but it's like at least he at least he tries, and I feel like does anybody walk through this building that's like walks through the Knicks facility and it's like, oh, they're a bad defender. M48, bad defender. He was off. He was done. He was like he was kicked to the bench quicker than I could snap my fingers after like because he couldn't play defense. And has anybody walked through the facility and still played that can't play defense other than Brunson? Like, no. Josh Hart sometimes is a lapses, but he's not a terrible defender. So it's like, I trust Thibodeau to make sure DeJounte Murray is at his best defensively. And I know DeJounte can get at his best. And I know what DeJounte's best is. And it's a pretty dang good defender. Not an all defensive player like an OG Anunoby, but a pretty good defender. And especially with an OG Anunoby by his side, it's not like, oh God, I need to do everything for this defensive team. And I think that's what he got kind of caught up in Atlanta was I got to do everything, and he can't do everything. He's not that offensive player. OG can do everything. That's his prototype. And yes, it's better with a wingspan, but OG can do everything. DeJounte Murray's just not that player. He's a great defender. That's how he got into the league. That's how Greg Popovich started playing him in San Antonio. But it's just he's not that type of player that can save your defense. And that's fine. Like Quentin Grimes can't save your defense, but he's a pretty dang good defender. He can't save your defense. Like, um, like let me another example of somebody who's a good defender but can't save your defense. I guess Josh Hart. He's a good defender. He can't save your defense. Um, uh, I guess a DeAndre Hunter, like he's a pretty dang good defender, but he just can't save your defense. Um, you're looking at like, I mean, I don't even know like what's good defensive teams. I mean, the Nets are on a good defensive team. Like Mikal Bridges, yes, he is scoring. It's kind of different than other of these players because they're like not really known as scoring scorer except like DeJounte Murray. But Mikal Bridges, he's a pretty dang good defender, but he's not going to save your defense. He's just not. He's a good defender, but he's just not going to save your defense. Players like OG Anunoby, players like Anthony Davis, players like those are all the NBA defensive players. They save your defense. Like those are the players that are X factors defensively. Dejounte Murray just isn't that. He's a pretty he's a pretty good defender, but it's just like I think that would be great next to OG. And just I would not want to play. I would want to play less your turn, my turn, because that's what he played with Trae Young. I don't think Thibs wants that. I think it's going to be more of like Jalen Brunson gets to move more off ball, and DeJounte Murray can do more stuff with the ball. I don't know if the fit's correct, but like you can try it out, and then you have somebody to entice around the league, and DeJounte Murray, if worst case scenario. I just think there's a low ceiling with that move. Unless Quentin Grimes turns like the next superhuman, and you just lose all those picks, and those picks become like a Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum type move, where like the Nets traded their picks for Jason Tatum, and Jalen Brown. So it's like, a, like then you lose a trade, but it's like there's a very low ceiling on that move. And what would Grimes do on his own team? That's kind of a question. I don't really like that question. I did it, but what would Grimes do with more ball handling ability and more minutes? Um, I think he would do great things. I mean, he's a plus defender. As I said, he's a plus defender. He won't save your defense, but he's a plus defender. Um, yes, that defense will still be bad. Atlanta, your defense won't. It's not like you're gonna get a world beater defensively for Dejounte Murray. Your defense still is gonna stink, but at least you have Quentin Grimes, who is a pretty good defender, but he just won't. He won't change your defensive rating altogether. He's not like a savior, but like he's like Dejounte Murray level defensively. Right now at least. Um, but you got a good defender that's like somebody who you know can be played a long time. Like I don't think Quinn Snyder would want to move this guy off the floor if they trade for him. I don't think Quinn Snyder would want to take this guy off the floor. Um, just because of his just ability to just be there. Like he's just there in passing lanes. He's there. Like he gets a little bit too over aggressive, but that's just youngness in him, just wanting to get these epic plays, which he does get. He got one on Jimmy Butler where he just like sprained his ankle or twisted his ankle, got back in the play, stole the ball. Like those are the type of plays that he likes making. That's what he does. That's how he makes his money in the NBA. It's just, and he can also shoot the leather off the ball. He doesn't make terrible decisions. Um, you can run like type of dribble handoffs with him, and you could teach him. Like there's still stuff to learn, so it's not like he's a finished product. Like it's still fun with him. Like you would still teach him stuff. Like that's the fun stuff about getting these young players, getting these players like Quentin Grimes. You can still teach him how to like run a dribble handoff better, how to see the big, how to use his eyes to like mess up the defender and get easier driving lanes, how to use his first step. He has a terribly hard first step to defend, and he just doesn't use it. So maybe not quitting, right? Maybe Quinn Snyder will empower him to use that quick first step, um, and to also because teams are gonna respect Quentin Grimes from the 3 point line. So it's like, what do you do after that? Like what do you do? Like you can get it, like you can teach him a pull up jumper. Like those are stuff you can teach him, and I just don't think Tom Thibodeau at the time. I just don't. And it's fine, but he just doesn't. And Quinn Snyder will because he needs to, and he has developed. I mean, he's done show to develop players, but like there's a framework of a great NBA player in Quentin Grimes, like somebody who could just be a at least role player who can just shoot the ball, play decent defense, um, not be hunted defensively, um, and just shoot the leather off the basketball. And have just freaking good first step, and he's shown that his handle is pretty dang tight, and he can get past people. Like I don't think he'll get a lot of those opportunities in any team, but I think he'll get like 2% of an opportunity to just take people off the dribble. And I think he'll he'll get more. Like there's not gonna be a lot of times where like Trae Young's going like bang bang behind his back all the game. Like there's gonna have to be other players who make plays, and that's where you have Quentin Grimes make plays. That's where you have Jalen Johnson. Like he can do some of the stuff Jalen Johnson does, and that's gonna be a fun team to watch. So yeah, that's my kind of thing. That's my kind of spiel on where Quentin Grimes would go. Why? Like, what's the why in this? Why does this matter? Like, you know, why should we even care? Like, why do we care about a player like Quentin Grimes, player that's 7 points per game, 39% from three, 40 from the field? Like, why do we care that he's leaving? Because I just laid you out the framework. Who would the Knicks get back? Who would I want the Knicks to get back? Like those are stuff that I try to illustrate, because some people are just taking this as like the Knicks are going to trade all their young guys, but it's like you actually think context wise why, and the why is because you're getting a decent defender in Dejounte Murray, or you're getting a veteran point guard in Brogdon, or you're getting a player in Dejounte Murray who wouldn't lose that game against the Magic. Not like Quentin Grimes lost the game himself. That's not what happened at all. But you would have a point guard who could just dribble the ball up and get to whatever he wants, and put Julius Randle in the right places, and to score the basketball at will. Like not at will, but like to be able to score the basketball and be a threat. Like I know Deuce McBride was scoring 20, but he's still not a threat. He still like has passing mistakes, and I think that pick and roll with Mitch. I think there's a thing there that I think the Knicks will test out, and there's a thing there that he can make good entry passes and really unlock the team with uh Jalen Brunson, and have Jalen Brunson move more off ball. I think that's kind of the things that I'm looking for if you trade for a player like DeJounte Murray. Like, what is the off ball look? What's off ball going to look for Jalen Brunson? Like, how much more is he going to get off ball? Like, like, how is Quentin Grimes going to play in a system with Trae Young? How is he going to hold up defensively, having more like defensive primacy? He's actually being like he actually has to guard, which he has already gone through before OG came. Was just him just defending the best player, but can he do that every single game? Like I think he can, but like and then also give you that offensive punch. But I think that's just the next step for somebody like Quentin Grimes, and he's not gonna get that in New York. So you have to come with terms to realize you can get a player who can help you win now, and you can give a team that maybe is like, where do I go now? A player in Quentin Grimes who could help them. That's it. Hope you have a nice day, and let's go Knicks.